Hey everyone, my guest today is Arianna Davis. Ariana currently stars as the series regular Madonna in the NBC cheerleading comedy Stumble opposite Kristin Chenoweth and Jen Soar and others. The show received rave reviews when it premiered with and Variety called it iconic and chose it as a critic's pick. Stumble is being prioritized by NBC as its next big comedy, and Ariana's character, a college cheerleader with a chronic illness, is a breath of fresh air in the on screen cheerleading space, which has long been devoid of diverse representation. Ari is a true triple threat. In addition to acting, she's a professional dancer. She started dancing at just 2 years old, as well as a singer and songwriter. I am so thrilled to welcome Ariana Davis to the podcast. Hello, how are you, fellow Brooklynite?
Hello, I'm great. How are you doing today?
I am so good. I have been following this show forever for all sorts of reasons, but mostly, Kristin Chenoweth and I did You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown together. So we
Oh,
have been
really?
pals for over 20 years. And when she told me she was doing this, I was like, wait, this was made for you. And then as the story unfolded and all of the kind of like super singular original characters were being created for this show. I just thought this is going to really be taking up space in the comedy world that we need right now. So I
I
want to ask
agree.
you, can you tell me like from first email to audition to first day on set, like your whole journey as Madonna?
Okay, well, on the audition process, I actually it's a funny story because I got the email breakdown when I believe like the night, the evening before my trip to go visit my great uncle in West Virginia. Oop, I think my cat is behind me. Don't
I
mind that.
hope so. I hope your cat makes an appearance.
She wants to make a cameo, everyone. This is Sumi.
Okay, that is a very beautiful cat. I understand why she wants some camera time. That's totally fine.
So sorry. Yes, I got the breakdown when I was on the way, basically on the way to go see my great uncle in West Virginia. And so I kind of wasn't really going to do the audition at first. I was like, oh, I'm like literally traveling. It was a big road trip with my family, and I didn't bring my self-tape equipment. It was a whole thing. It was whatever. But then I ended up like at the last minute being like, no, this role seems really awesome. Like I really just got to do it. So I literally propped my phone up on I like moved the dresser in one of my great uncle's rooms and put propped it up on a bobblehead figurine he had in that guest room, and it was in front of this like green-ish, like yellowish wall, very unsuitable for a self-tape. Um, and I just did the audition. So I sent in my initial self-tape, and then they called me back, and I got a right away I got a producer Zoom, which was awesome. So, I met all the producers, the lovely writers of the show, the casting, and then they used my producer Zoom as my screen test, and then I booked it. So I basically did two auditions. God bless. And I booked Madonna, and then we filmed the pilot in Atlanta, which was an extremely amazing experience. I had never been in Atlanta for an extended period of time, so it was really interesting to be in a city where there's a lot of creatives that look like me, and just it was just a great experience. Stepping on this on set as Madonna for the first time was like surreal.
Well, let me ask you, do you remember the description on the original breakdown for the character?
Um, I'm trying to remember the exact adjectives they used. I feel like it confident was definitely confident, body positive, has narcolepsy. Um,
By the way,
yeah, by the way. And I think something along the lines of not necessarily deadpan humor, but kind of she tells it like it is, kind of.
what was your relationship to cheer as a sport?
So I grew up as a dancer. Like you said, I started dancing at the age of 2. So I feel like the only thing I really knew about cheer prior to watching the docu-series Cheer on Netflix was like when I would go to dance competitions and there would be a cheer competition also happening in the same convention center at the same time. Like that was all I knew about cheers. I just saw them and we were in the same vicinity, probably doing similar things. But then I watched the cheer docu-series twice in a row, both seasons twice in a row. And then I learned about the world of competitive cheer, and I was like, "Oh, this is like the real deal. This should be in the Olympics." And then I did a lot of research prior to being Madonna about all different types of cheerleading, which there's so many,
Yeah.
uh, so many.
So you could
Um,
do a TED talk at this point about like all of the levels and parts of cheer that maybe most of us do not know.
I think what's funny is that you would think I could, but because of how many hours I've spent researching, but the more I dive in, the more it's a huge can of worms. You learn about the different styles of cheer. There's high school cheer, then there's, competitive cheer, there's all-star cheer, there's stomp and shake, there's the like NFL cheer, which is kind of what you see the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders doing. And then you go in and there's like sub sections and niches of all of those different types of things, and so I feel like I don't know anything. Like I technically know a lot, but I also feel like I am scratching the surface.
But as a dancer, were you also a gymnast? Like all of the kind of things that your character has to do. Are there stunt doubles on Stumble?
Yes. Okay. So there are stunt doubles and cheer doubles. I have a cheer double. Her name is Jada Thompson. She's amazing. If anyone here is following Pro Cheer, it's the first inaugural year for that. She's on the Atlanta Air. But yes, I have a cheer double. She comes in and does my tumbling passes because NBC safety is like, oh no, you can't do that. Like I can anyway, lol. The most I can do is like a
Only
is a
because
round off.
ABC is worried. That's all. It's
Right,
just
right, right,
ABC.
right. It's like even if I could, they wouldn't let me. But I do try to do as much as possible. Like I try to do the dismounts. I try to do, the round offs into the tumbling pass for editing purposes, so it looks really realistic. And I always love getting the question, "Do we have cheer doubles?" Because that means that we're doing our jobs really well. But all of the dancing, all of the falling for the narcolepsy, all of the basically anything other than the actual tumbling pass, I'm doing.
So incredible. You know, as a High School Musical fan, different shows that sort of focus on and sharing a lot of behind the scenes footage from like the making of High School Musical or the making of things like that.
Yeah.
Pitch Perfect, just all of these worlds in which there was a tremendous amount of rehearsal as if it were a play before filming began. How much rehearsal training was there before you guys actually started filming, or did it happen in real time?
So it kind of happened in real time. So I'd say like the week or a week and a half, sometimes a couple days before a routine is filmed, we have cheer rehearsal. So with our lovely choreographer and executive producer, Dalston Delgado and Monica Aldama, whom a lot of people in the cheer world know these people. Um, they oh my gosh, I'm sorry, my cat is doing crazy things. They guide us in learning stunts and different things. They help us like integrate with the pro cheerleaders that are also on the buttons team. And we really do it for like I'd say 5 hours at a time, maybe 6, depending on the day and depending on the routine. And then we have like 1 or 2 rehearsals of that, and then we go and do the filming. And it helps a lot that I'm a dancer, Jarrett is a dancer, Anissa was a cheerleader, Georgie was a gymnast, Ryan did mixed martial arts and different, like integrated with like hip hop, I think too. So we catch on pretty quick.
I have read, and you can confirm or deny, that this cast, this group of people, have bonded really like beautifully with each other and have become not just people on a show together, but a family. Can you talk about that experience of like not just is this your first series?
Yeah, this is my first series, but this is also just my first acting job, acting gig.
Hey, before I get into how amazing it is that you now have this whole new family that came with the show,
Yeah.
this is a very rare thing for someone's first job to be starring on a show, on a network, um, and just sort of handling all of that. Can we go back a little bit? Like, I know that you've been dancing since you were really, really young, and you have had tremendous success in the dance world. How did you pivot now? Like, were you a musical theater girly? Like, talk about your relationship to acting, theater, musicals. Obviously, you sing also, you write.
Yes.
Like, you have a
Yes.
lot of talent. So, how did, like, just can we go maybe go back in time for a minute?
Let's rewind.
Yes.
Yes, so I think a good place to start is, I've been singing and songwriting since like the age of 15. And I've kind of been involved as much as I can with acting in my city. Like I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, so the little bit of opportunities we did have, I would do like community theater, things when I was like really young. So that all kind of led me to go to school here in New York. It's called the Institute for American Musical Theater. It's a 2-year conservatory, which in a way got kind of cut short a little bit because I did go like it got cut short because of the pandemic and no one really knew how to Zoom properly yet. But I did get musical theater training there, and I felt like a Broadway boot camp to me. And I think through a referral from one of my classmates there who already had an agent, I got an agent, and they signed me for TV and film. So technically, I'm sorry. Technically,
People who are only listening to the audio and not watching the video are going to be like, what are they apologizing for? There's a cat that really wants attention, guys. So
my
we're
lovely
sorry.
cat is crawling all
That's all
over.
that's happening. Yes, just so you know, listeners around the globe, that's what the sorry is for.
But
Wait,
yes,
can you
um,
tell the story? I did read a story now that my brain is back on about you were cast in like as a lead in a musical as a kid that didn't happen because of a tornado.
okay, this is the craziest story ever. I forgot who asked me this question, but
It was me.
right, yes, yes. Um, I got one of the community theater things that I was going to do. It was the only lead that I was able to book in my lifetime, and it was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. And I'm from Indiana, like I said, so we have tornado season,
Huh.
and literally the show got canceled because of a tornado. And I was like, what are the odds that my one lead role, which is the Wizard of Oz, in which Dorothy gets taken by a tornado to the Munchkin land, is canceled by a tornado. I was so devastated, and yeah, that was my only time ever booking a lead role.
Feel like that would be kind of an amazing show. That show, like the story of the girl cast as
Yeah,
Dorothy, and then it can't happen because of the tornado, but they persevere. And I don't know, there's something there. I think we should write that.
I think we should write that, and I would love to finally be a lead in that. So that would be great.
Yes. Um, Wait, so you get an agent. This was not your first audition because you had the self-tape equipment, even though it was not
Yes,
available to you on your road trip to see your great uncle. But
yes.
like, how long have you been auditioning in earnest?
I've been auditioning. So that was like 2020 when I got signed. So I've been auditioning since then, and I've booked like I will not call them odd jobs because they've been like, modeling for the hair care line Amika, or, I did a voiceover job for Adidas, and, different things like that. And then I've also just been a dance teacher for a really long time. So during that whole process. So, I mean, I've been auditioning, but I just have never really booked any acting things, even though that's kind of what I was signed for. So I just think that transition from dance to acting was like a really slow burn. Yeah, again, dancing professionally during this time as well. So yeah.
When your agents told you, like, hey, they really liked your tape, you're going to have to do another, now the producers want to meet with you. First of all, had you returned home when that happened, or were you still at your uncle's house? The callback.
Oh, I had returned home at that time. I
Okay.
think the callback was I think I got a call about them wanting to see me couple days after I got back to Indianapolis, and I was in a dance class when I got the text that, hey, they're interested in, moving forward.
Can you describe that feeling?
Well, that was like an insane feeling because I actually got dropped by my dance agent the same day that I got a notice that they wanted to do a producer Zoom with me for Stumble. So I was like really feeling the shift from dance to acting in that specific moment.
Oh,
And then I had to go, be completely fine and, be a dance teacher. So I had to kind of like turn it off and compartmentalize. But I was also teaching dance when I got the call that I booked the role, and I'll speak on that. I was at the beginning of my dance day. So I was literally in, I think, tap technique ages 7 to 10. Teaching the kids, and I got a call from my manager agent, and she was like, hey, we got to talk to you, da, da, da. And I had to excuse myself, get a contemporary teacher to teach my tap class. He was like freaking out. I was like, just for a second, just for a second. And I go outside and I hear that I book it, and I literally am bawling my eyes out. Like, everything that I've worked towards had like rushed into my like brain all in that moment. Like, I had like 10 minutes, I think. And in that 10 minutes, I talked to my mom and I talked to my dad, and I heard the news all in that 10 minutes. So I had to hurry up and do all this and then suck up my tears and go back into class because I couldn't let the kids know that I was leaving to go film a pilot because it was recital season and they would be like, oh, our teacher's leaving us. So, anyway, long story short, it was really
wow.
amazing.
Wow. So not to get like in the weeds with everything, but usually like in the olden days when I was testing for pilots, before you did your screen test, you had to negotiate your entire deal in case it went to
Yeah,
series, as yours had. Were you a regular in the pilot, like from the beginning, or did you become a regular once it got picked up to series?
I was a regular in the pilot.
So you were also aware of what your entire life would look like
Yeah.
from very different very quickly.
Very different very quickly is really good way to put it.
So when you're in Atlanta, now I want to speak to this sort of family that's been created. There's something
Yeah.
so special when you are filming out of town, right? It's like it's like being in camp in a way. Like you're just with the same people all the time. You're all in a new place. No one's living at home. How did they sort of help to create a company of people that really could be this ensemble, or did it happen organically?
I really feel like man, that's the origin of why we love each other so much needs to be studied because I honestly don't know. It just feels like it was meant to be. It just feels like it happened organically. It feels like everyone a part of this team is just a good person and just a lovely um just lovely to be around. And I think it starts with our number one, Jen Lyon. I really feel like she sets the tone of like just happiness and joy. And then also our producers, our writers, like, and then all of my cast members, like, I don't know why, but I just feel like if I met them out and about, we would be exactly the same amount of friends as we are now, having spent 14-hour days together multiple days in a row for months. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, I just think everyone is so adaptable, and I think that really makes it what it is.
How quickly after you guys filmed the pilot did you find out that actually you're going to get to shoot a whole series?
Oh man, I feel like we learned, it felt like ages, but probably a month and a half
So
after.
pretty quickly, actually, in the world of how things
Extremely
get
quickly.
made. Yeah.
This whole process has been extremely quick. We filmed the entire first season, minus the pilot in 3 months. And we aired half the season while we were still filming. So it was extremely fast.
I guess I want to talk a little bit about the narcolepsy
Yeah.
part of your character's journey. How do you how do you learn about that? Do you talk about with people who have it? Was that daunting, not daunting?
Um, I guess the only daunting part of it is, making sure that like I'm representing it well and, working with what I'm given versus, what I do on my own time. I actually have two friends that have narcolepsy that I that I had extensive phone calls, conversations with. I worked with one of them at the dance studio I was working at prior to this. So I talked about their personal experience, but I also didn't take that as the only experience, like as a universal experience, because I know, having done a lot of research, there's two types of narcolepsy and there's multiple different symptoms that I feel like, affect people daily. And then maybe some people, kind of live their life and don't really feel too much of the effects of it. And then some people, it's very severe. I mean, I think there's something called cataplexy that goes along with narcolepsy for some people, and that's the sudden loss of muscle not tone, sorry, I don't know what the word is, but when you like your muscles suddenly just kind of go limp,
Right.
and
As if
that's
you're asleep.
as if you're asleep, but a lot of times people don't actually fall asleep when they have those dramatic drops. So there's just a lot of different things, and I'm still learning a lot, and I think that that was the most daunting thing, was just trying to make sure that everyone feels heard and like represented, as
Right.
much as control I do have over that.
Right. And especially it's a comedy. So you want to make sure that in the comedy of the show, this very particular real thing isn't being sort of locked into this pile of like what's
Right.
funny, and like that obviously it can be entertaining, something
Yeah.
like that happening at a very inopportune time, but
Yes.
also how do you give it the respect that it deserves, to exactly your point, when you're representing like a very real serious thing.
So I try to find many times in scenes, um how can Madonna, because Madonna is an overcomer and Madonna is very persistent and a resilient person. How can Madonna represent the daily symptoms of narcolepsy while also representing the star quality that she has? And people with narcolepsy oftentimes experience excessive daytime sleepiness. So basically pretend like you haven't slept for 3 days. That's kind of how a lot of people with narcolepsy feel all the time. So with that being said, I also know that Madonna is just her namesake, just a star. Okay. So even in the face of that challenge, she is the most energetic person on the team. She's a leader. She's front and center. She's a standout. And how can I represent those two things at the same time to let people know how strong Madonna is? And I really try to do that and find scenes, and also make sure that the situation is the comedy and not the actual narcolepsy. The situation, like you said, it happens at inopportune times. The inopportune time is the joke and not the narcolepsy. And I try to have as much thought about that as possible, within the writing that I'm given.
Right, right. No, obviously you are a tremendously sensitive person, and I understand why they saw you and they were like, "Wait, who is this? Who is this person? We need to have her on our show." But I'm sure there was also a part of them going, "We need her. She's like the writers are brother and sister. Is that correct?"
Yes, Jeff and Liz Astroff, they're
Wait,
amazing.
wait, I want to just sidebar. Can you talk a little bit about that for a second, what that's like?
Well, first of all, it is literally, I have never met people in my life that speak like writers. Like they speak like comedy writers, if that makes sense. Like when they talk to me, everything is like it's the pacing of it's the pacing of a sitcom. So it's really interesting to interact with them individually, but then on set, it's whenever they are together on set or just hearing them interact with each other, it's like they're definitely brother and sister. Like you can the way the way that I talk to my sister is the way they talk to each
Have
other,
they
and it is so funny.
have they had other things that they've written together? Do you know about their history?
This is the first thing I believe that they have co-wrote together. and created together.
God, I feel like how proud must a parent be? Like, if my kids wrote a show together and it was on
I
and it's
know.
picked up, like that's incredible. Okay, so to go back to um I, I just want to talk about like when you play a character named Madonna, there are
Mhm,
so many, either the religious Madonna or the pop star Madonna.
mhm.
Like Madonna means so much to so many people for different reasons, right?
Yeah,
So what when you get a character, when you're cast as a character, and then we'll get back to my original question, which was being brand new to this,
right.
how they sort of handled that with you and for you to make sure that you felt comfortable and ready to do what
Mhm.
they were asking you to do. But what did Madonna mean to you?
Uh, Kind of what I was um, mentioning before about how she is an overcomer, she's resilient. Madonna, like as soon as I heard the name, obviously you think star, obviously you think memorable, or iconic is the word I'd say Madonna is. Um, she means everything to me because I do feel like we're very similar, but she would be the more bold version of me, the more outgoing. Even I feel like I'm very outgoing, but she's even more. She's more unapologetic in a lot of ways, and I learn a lot from her. Just from the initial breakdown, but also just getting to play her. I'm like, she's so important to society right now, and like representation wise, but also just um, believing in your dreams and never giving up. I mean, she honestly was the only person on the cheer team, on the Buttons cheer team, prior to Courtney, the coach, coming in and being a part of the team. So she's been holding this down before anybody got there,
Yeah.
and I really appreciate her resilience.
The tricky thing about a show like this, the mockumentary is something we sort of, the direct address to camera or looks to camera,
Yeah.
the idea that this is a cheer team that is being followed and documented, a la The Office or something like that. Talk about how they spoke to you about negotiating the camera. As actors, we're always taught, like, don't look at the camera, there's no direct address, and yet there's a world in which you are being asked to be in a show that's filmed, also acknowledging that your character is it's like the show within the show within the show.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and this is your first time, and that's a lot of spinning plates to negotiate. So, how did they, feel like we're really confident this person can handle this? Duh, Avi. But like, how did you actually figure out how to negotiate all of this? Plus, what's a mark? Where do I stand? Like, there's so much to learn.
Okay, this is loaded because, well, I'll just preface this also by I don't think I can confirm that with them, but I'm pretty sure they didn't know it was my first acting thing
You're such a good
until
actress.
'cause-
Exactly.
hopefully it's that. Yes, I think they didn't know until I was like halfway through the first week of filming the pilot, I think, because I had made a little comment after I did my first confessional for Madonna in my intro scene. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, first time filming done, like first day wrapped, like of ever or whatever." I like mentioned that to one of the PAs, and Jeff Astroff was standing right there and he was like, "Wait, really?" So I really feel like they didn't know. So I didn't really receive too much guidance at first just because I think everyone assumed I had done this before. And I also was really trying to play it cool. Like you don't want to seem too green. You want people to think you know what you're doing even if you don't. But I mean, throughout the whole process, they're so open to questions and they're so willing to collaborate. And I'd say Jen Lyon, again, coach, she was like, this is the person you can ask about continuity. This is called Video Village. You can come here and da 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 and do this and da da da. And that was really helpful. My castmates were really helpful, and I'm a researcher, so I was looking up TV and film set terms that I need to know before going on set on Google.
Right. Yes.
That's so I was very much me and Taylor Dunbar in the show who just graduated Juilliard after we filmed the pilot. We were texting
Unbelievable.
each other like, okay, so what does dirtying the take mean? What does this mean? What is a gaffer? What is a grip? What is
Right.
we would do that as well. I'm
And now you could teach it, right? Like it sounds
still
like
learning,
you're
but maybe.
like a fish to water for sure. So it
Absolutely.
was pretty joyous.
Absolutely. I mean, I say this to everyone that I get to talk to about this experience, but I'll say it again is that I really feel like I'm living in a prayer that I used to pray. Like just being around so many lovely individuals who are respectful and kind and empathetic and knowledgeable and professional. It was such a good experience all around, and I hope it continues into a season two.
Do you know when you find out?
I believe they told us around like March or May. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
For sure. Well, I guess I want to ask you one more thing before we finish. So Madonna is a name that meant a lot to you, and I wonder, are you named for someone? Is Ariana, and do you go by Ariana or Ari more in your life? And what does your name mean to you?
That's such a lovely question. I am named. I believe there's a lot of lore to my name because my sister's name is Brianna. My name is Ariana Danae Davis. My sister's name is Brianna Janae Davis, and my brother's name is Brandon. So my family was trying to do B names. But then, something happened where I feel like they changed my mind and they were looking for something that rhymed with Brianna, but maybe was a little different. And then I think when my mom was pregnant with me, she saw a news anchor named Ariana Huffington, whom I feel like a lot of people know. And she was reporting, I believe, something about some devastating event that had happened in that year. And she just did it in such an eloquent way. And I feel like my mom was like, wow, she's so beautiful and has such an eloquent name. I'm gonna name my daughter Ariana. It reminds her of Brianna, so I feel like that's kind of how it went. And then I usually go by Ari in my everyday life, but people call me both.
Now that you're on a break from filming, are you teaching again?
I'm not. I want to
Yeah.
be. I was teaching back in Indiana, so I'm still in New York as of right at this moment.
Well, okay.
Um, I did do a little bit of choreography prior to me leaving Indiana to film this. So my kids are currently in competition season, so I get to like kind of watch them. So I'm still kind of in a teacher mode. But mostly I'm just trying to focus on achieving more of my dreams and working on music and being a student. I need to go back to dance class more and do things like that. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on.
All right. Well, I am so lucky that I got to spend this time with you today. I hope they told you I asked this question, and if not, you can take as long as you want to think of one. But is there a little known fact about Ariana Davis that you can share?
A little known fact, as in a fact that people just don't know about me really at all.
Anything that like pops into your head, but yes,
I
it
have I
is
have so
about
many.
you.
Um, I think one thing that people think is really surprising about me, random hobby, is I love to keep aquariums. I don't currently have any because I'm moving a lot right at this moment, but the most aquariums I've ever had is 4 aquariums in my home, saltwater and freshwater. I'm like a huge nerd about fish keeping. So I can tell you that I could do a TED Talk on how to properly keep a beta fish or a fancy goldfish or a this or a that or a bristlenose pleco, like different things like that. So yeah, random little known fact is that I
Okay,
love. I'm an aquarist.
are you what's your sign?
I'm a Scorpio. Random.
Interesting.
I know
Yes,
when I say I'm an aquarist, people think I'm saying I'm an Aquarius, and I
but
got
you are
Georgie one
not.
time. I got Georgie Murphy from the show. She was like, "I thought you were an Aquarius." I was like, "No, I'm saying I like to keep fish."
I'm an Aquarianist. Exactly.
Yeah.
What a joy to have you on the show today. Congratulations. I love the show. Stumble. Everybody watch it on NBC and or just Google where to find it. It's
Yeah.
everywhere that
ABC
you
and
watch
Peacock.
stuff. And Peacock.
Yes.
Congrats. Congrats. This is just the beginning of us getting to watch you be glorious on screen, on stages, and I can't wait to see what's next. And thank you for being on the show today. This was so much fun.
Thank you for your time and thank you for asking such lovely questions and also tolerating my little cat
I
being
love it.
in
I love
making a
it.
cameo.
Oh, All right, be well. I will see you soon, I hope.
See you soon. Thank you so much.
Of course, bye.
Bye.